same place, the same I define, touching from a distance, better all the time. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio. Oh, I would call out when the going gets tough. Things you've learned are no longer enough. Well, now it's a sound. It's all we need to know. To synchronize love to the beat of the show. And we could dance. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio. Dance to the radio.
Now we're going to talk about the music we hear on the radio, or rather the music we don't hear on the radio. Are we being conditioned by radio producers and DJs into liking what they want us to like? Do they actually stifle a lot of the stuff we do want to hear, as they don't think it's good for us? With me is Tony Wilson, a television journalist, who in his spare time is one of the people behind Factory Records, one of the new independent labels. Radio 1 DJ Paul Burnett and Steve Morris from Joy Division. Steve, I'd like to ask you the first question. As a member of an up-and-coming band, do you think you get a fair deal from the radio?
Not really, no.
And why do you think this is?
Well, by the radio, I assume you're referring to Radio 1. Well, the only times that our records have actually been played on Radio 1 has been late at night on the John Peel show and once on the Mike Reid show on a Saturday on the Manchester Special.
Yeah. I'm sure Steve would be interested to hear how discs are chosen for airplay. Do you yourself have any choice, Paul?
Yes, we do, with just the record of the week, you know, that we put our name to.
So it's a very limited choice, see?
No, I was just going to say that we do have an influence on the selection of records that go up to the playlist meeting, which is 4 producers who sit down once a week and submit records which they all play and listen to. And if you have a good rapport with your producer, you can have quite a strong influence on the...
Is it not true, though, that the majority of people actually on this playlist committee are middle-aged trendies?
That has been said, it has been said. It's unfair, because by saying that, you're as guilty of, you know, if you believe that, you're as guilty of prejudice as much as people who believe that youngsters are yobs and what have you. Because...
Well, Tony, do you think that's prejudice? Do you think the people have got the finger on the pulse?
No, I think you should let Paul finish what he was saying, because he'll never talk to you again. No, they haven't. They haven't got the foggiest idea in the world what's going on, most of them, but there are some good ones, and I think we want you to define the difference between Radio 1 and commercial radio. The funniest thing in this country has been that Radio 1, and Top of the Pops to some extent, has been slightly progressive, and one can thank it. I mean, at least, you know, Peel plays it and stuff like that, but commercial radio, to my mind, has been the real abject, I mean, appalling, empty, vacant, depressing, non-sort of area of communications. And that was what was meant to replace the pirate radio stations. The last 4 years, if there had been an alternative radio station to take the music that was happening, what's happened the last 4 years, we'd be in a different world now.
Well, how do you view the playlist system?
I view the playlist system as being incredibly important if you want to hit record. In fact, if you want to hit record, the commercial stations, everything is irrelevant. What is relevant is the choice of a Radio 1 producer, whether he likes the record or not. I find the fact that many record reps have to take their records, their singles, out of picture sleeves and put them in white bags. Anything with a picture sleeve is immediately punk and is discarded. This is the story, one of the stories I've heard. I'm sure you'll deny it, Paul.
Is that fair criticism?
I don't know about that. I suppose it's valid that it's possible that somebody looking at a sleeve will immediately condemn it as whatever the sleeve seems to indicate is in that, which is obviously to be avoided. I suppose it's just a safety device, really, to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's all.
Yes, it's just
probably true. I don't.
It is. I mean, the basic problem with the attitude is that radio, the most appalling aspect of it is what I think Roger Day of Piccadilly Radio once said on the BBC Two documentary. We like to play nice, pleasant music to fill out the space between the adverts. And that is a definition of the appalling nature of commercial radio. Radio 1 isn't as bad. They're into the music, but they like music which reassures and which makes you feel calmer or is pleasant in a sense.
A lot of the criticisms that we've suffered have been aimed at Radio 1 about a year ago. I like to think there's been a great change at Radio 1 in the last years.
I agree with that, but do you think they'll ever play your records?
Doubtful.
Doubtful.
But why?
Quite agree, it is doubtful.
Is there an automatic right that you have when you bring a record out that it should get played on Radio 1? I mean,
if it's a brilliant record, if it's better than most of the dross that's around, I mean, and there are records which are better than most of the dross that is around that don't get played because they are slightly unsettling. The simple reason that they come from somewhere slightly deeper within the soul than the level of a pure hit factory. And those things don't get played. I mean, I think Cliff's latest single is a work of genius, a perfect pop song. But this lot are doing the same kind of thing. They're using melody and rhythm in a hypnotic way, which is what makes a hit single. But because it's unsettling and slightly sinister and gothic, it won't be played. It seems a shame.
In many different ways until she lost control